Hey, what's up, everybody? What's going on, Live Fit World? So, today is a topic and a conversation that needs to happen. And it's something that I'm really surprised has never come up because I think all of us deal with this personally on like a month to month, kind of quarter to quarter type basis when it comes to fitness or really, I guess, anything else in your life that you're successful with, whether it's your business, your career, your parenting, your relationships. But it's something where it's like, you don't want to ever hit your peak and then you're on the wrong side of that peak. But the thing is, like, there's going to be some times where it happens and there's going to be some setbacks. And I guess going through parenting now in a situation where, like, anytime she has a bad couple days of crying or fits or whatever, everybody's like, oh, it's a phase, it'll be over quick. Well, I think the same thing happens with our fitness. And so the whole thing is, like, maybe you've never been in this spot, but like some of us get into a place where it's like you're exercising every day, you have your routines, you make your meals, like everything is just boom, boom, boom. Like you have it so set up and like you're like a fine-tuned machine. And then you have a setback, whether it's an injury, a surgery, a COVID, a family situation, a relationship issue, like whatever. Things come up and you miss a day, a week, a couple weeks, and then it just seems like you can never get it back. And what I want you to think about is, like, athletes, we always knock them for wanting to get a bigger contract or for holding out or whatever, but it's like, think about this. Like, they are in the greatest shape of their life at 21, 22, 23, and like literally, if they miss one season and at 25, now they're not as young, they're not as agile, they're not as nimble, they're not as mobile, they're not as fast, plus now they have the stiffness and scar tissue from an injury that they have to recover from. So like, you look at something like that, it's like no wonder they try to like squeeze all the juice out of every fruit that they get or every season that they get. So here's the thing I want you to think with you. A lot of our clients, like our average age is somewhere in the mid 50s. So like you have even more scar tissue built up. You have more years of injuries. You have more hormone issues. You have more life circumstances. You have more things that could come up in your day. So like if these athletes are holding on and like it's that hard for them, like it's going to be even harder for us. So let's first talk about the aging process. The biggest thing with the aging process is things dry out, things get stiffer, things get tighter. So like we all need to make sure that we are stretching more, drinking more water to keep everything hydrated. But like also remember, like you are at the oldest age you've ever been and you're at the best health that you've ever been. Now, that doesn't mean it's as high as of a level as you want. Again, we went through the definition of live fit, but like, your suitable standard might be at a higher level and you want it to be higher. So the reason why this video is happening and the reason why we're having this message is because we've had people like Betsy McDonald, who's a dynamic like athlete. I don't know how old Betsy is, but I'm guessing around 50 maybe. And like always a top finisher in challenges, always a top finisher in different workouts, and she missed some time. And now coming back, she says she's working out 4 or 5 days a week. She's biking multiple miles, 4 or 5 days a week, like, and just doesn't feel like it's clicking. So remember, like, this is something that's normal. Like it's acceptable. There's that word. But it's a situation, like I want you to think about how many times in your life you have reinvented yourself. So our topic today is reinventing yourself. Like we need to discuss like what does that mean and what does it look like? So for me, like all the way growing up, childhood, through school, through everything, like I mean, I got amazing grades. I made sure school was important, but it had nothing to do with like this career or anything else of what I wanted to do. Like I thought I was going to be a professional baseball player. Like that was my goal. That was my dream. I missed my high school graduation because I went to the state all-star game where there was 150 something scouts. Like it was huge. Well, I tore my shoulder the week leading up to that. Still played, didn't do well, didn't get drafted. Boom, heartbreak. Guess who's not playing professional baseball? Me. Let's go play college for a year. Do okay, not that great. Sophomore year, come back, kicking butt, doing great. Guess who's going to go play professional baseball or at least another 4-year school? Me. Guess who breaks their leg in the middle of a game and never plays another game again for college, pro, or anything else? Me. So you have to reinvent yourself. Then I started looking at it, it's like, oh my God, I'm like, people like, my wife Michelle and Eucelia and Rolo and Ashley and some of these, like, we've all done competitions. Like, guys, I look like that one day. And when I say one day, but like how do you go from looking like that to then like, oh my God, I have to live my life for the rest of my life without that? Like I got my girl dad shirt, but I got my dad bod. Like we are all having to reinvent ourselves constantly. So the point of this is like, what are you chasing? What is your goals? And then the other part is like, how that guy looked right there. In this point in my life, I'm not willing to make the sacrifices, the effort, the amount of lifting, everything else to get to that. Like that's not in my wheelhouse right now. Maybe in a few years, maybe something else that'll come back, but it's not. The same with playing baseball. Like my goals aren't to play baseball. Like I don't train the same. I don't act the same. I don't like my schedule isn't the same. So like, okay, Like now I'm a business owner. Now I'm a dad. Now I'm a boss to like amazing trainers. I have a staff. I have a sales team. Like priorities are different. Like priorities are so different. So now like my day to day and my goals and my reinvention is like I try and get out in the yard or in our little home gym there, but like for 20 minutes a day, 25 minutes a day. It's my goal to get there every single day. Where before previously, like with baseball, it would be a lot of band work and mobility and agility. That got replaced in the bodybuilding days with heavy dumbbells, heavy barbells, and all that stuff. Now I'm doing a combination of everything. Now I'm like, okay, hitting 37, like I want to make sure I'm agile. I want to make sure I can still run and move and, side to sides and box jumps. And I want to make sure I can still lift. So like my workouts now don't even look the same they used to. Like I used to blast one body part for an hour when it came to bodybuilding. Now it's 20 minutes and I'm doing legs, shoulders, biceps, triceps. It's a total body. So it's like, and then I stretch before and I stretch after. And it's like, there's so many things I do now. And I'm like, I started thinking, I'm like, it's just a reinvention. It's like Derek 8.0 or something. It's so every time you're starting over, every time you're going back to the beginning again, like you got to think like, am I trying to chase that person who I just was? Like, and maybe you are. But maybe there's new goals. Maybe there's new objectives. Maybe there's a new path to get there. Maybe before you used to be a runner and now it's like, you know what? Let me try this biking thing. Or you've biked for years and it's like, I see these people on these rowers. What is a rower about? Like, there's always going to be something like you got to reinvent yourself. So, maybe for some of you, it's like you want to go kayaking. You want to be able to do stuff with your grandkids. Like maybe some of you, it's like Betsy, you horseback ride, I believe. Like, so there's some of these things like what life skills are we trying to improve? Because again, we're getting older every single day, and we already are in the best shape we've ever been at the oldest age, but like we want to get better and better. We want to have higher function and higher output. So like what are the things that we're chasing, and then what are the activities that we need to do to get there? So once we have all that, that's where we kind of get to that final spot of like, all right, we know that we got to drink more water, we know we got to stretch, we know we got to find new goals, we know we got to find like a new way to get there. So the last thing is like, what's our deadline? What's our goal? And for like a bodybuilding competition, it's easy. Like I got to step on stage in a Speedo, like what day it is. But when it comes to like life, like that might not happen. Like you might not have that day. So that's where things like transformation challenges, the Live Fit games, like doing different things that get you out of your comfort zone a little bit, like that's your new challenge. So maybe you start off the month and like, your last challenge that you just did last Monday, maybe it wasn't that great, but maybe when we do it again in a week, like it's a little bit better time. And maybe when we keep doing it, like that's your goal. Like you just want to get better and better. And like a top 3 finish would be like the greatest thing for you. Maybe that's not it. Maybe you just want to be healthier and more agile and like stop making excuses and be more consistent with just working out. Like maybe that's the goal. Well, then you just need to show up every day. And it doesn't matter how well you perform. Don't judge yourself based on your performance. Judge yourself based on showing up or not. But I think what happens is we try and hold ourselves to the old level and the new level at the same time, and both goals aren't attainable at the same time. I can't be an athlete and a bodybuilder and dad bod all at the same time. So like we need to start redefining what our priorities are, what we got to do to get there, and then set a new deadline of like, how are we going to judge this? Is it going to be a mud run that we do? Is it going to be, a 5K? Is it going to be like, what are you going to judge this effort with? And so I think when it comes to, again, the term today of reinventing yourself, like, what are you trying to reinvent? What are we trying to create? Like, you don't ever go into a laboratory and do a science project without knowing at least what you're trying to get as an outcome. You don't ever go into, a wood shop and start building something without having some sort of plan or idea of what you're doing. You never hit a road trip without having at least an address or some sort of destination idea. So like, what are we doing? What are we chasing? What do we want? Like, what's your goals? And, we're 8 minutes and 40 seconds into this. And like, if no emotion has struck you yet and no like, wow, that's a good idea. If none of those things have struck you yet, then like, here's the last thing I'll leave you with. You need to find other inputs of information. So like when I hit a sticking point, whether it's with work, working out, relationships, whatever, like time to find a new YouTube channel, time to find a new book, time to find, like I got my stack of books, like it's time to get new information into that dome. And because, no new outcome is going to come without new input. There you go. So like you need to put new input to get new output. Like you got to have new ingredients to make a new recipe. You have to have like just a different set of tools to get a different set of a project. So start looking at your life, start looking at what you've done. It might be good to look backwards so you can look forwards. Like look at what some of the things you've done. Like, is a box jump still important to you? Is running still important to you? Is biking still? Is weight loss? Is a six-pack? Like, what are the things that maybe you've done in the past that you still want to do? Because we're not going to do all of them. And then you look at your future and like, where am I going? What do I want to do? What do I want to be able to do? How long is it going to take to get there? And what do I have to do to get there? Guys, we're here to help you. I want to share, as much as we can in the comments here. So like share your I guess feelings when you watch this video. Like, what are the things you want to work on? Let's hear it and let's help you all. Let's do this.